just to fall.
With over 24% of the 1.9 billion square acres in America alone, the mountains that so many people call home are also host to some of the most incredible mysteries in the world. The missing, the murdered, strange creatures, unexplained lights, and sightings of unidentified objects. These stories may be strange, they may be sad, they may be odd, but they are mysterious. These are the Mountain Mysteries Gatherings. And now, live from the Pantry Studio, broadcast to all time zones around the world, with listeners of the podcast in the United States, Canada, Germany, Norway, India, the United Kingdom, and more. These are the Mountain Mysteries Gatherings. Now, your host, Chris Sloan.
Good evening. This one is actually live, like I told you it would be Tuesday. Maybe the last live one for a week or so. We're going to have another one on coming up next Thursday too, but that may be pre-recorded. So, but I guess most people probably don't mind that. So, for our Patreon subscribers, we got Lorraine Warren. It's called In the Shadows, Part 1. They got it Tuesday. Got some good comments off of it, some good reviews, but oh, wait. Just a minute. What's coming up next week, Part 2, that is when it really gets thick and deep. You see, Part 1 was all about you getting to know a little bit more about Lorraine, and through Lorraine, you get to know Ed, because Ed passed away in 2006. Lorraine passed away, unfortunately, and I believe it was 2019, April 18. But this next one, she goes into great detail about the museum, which is known all over the world. That's the place where Annabelle resides today. Annabelle was a real doll. You know, I guess in the movie The Conjuring, they took artistic liberty and they made it look creepy. And I get that. It's a movie. It's meant to entertain and meant to scare the holy Pete out of you. But the real Annabelle looks like a Raggedy Ann doll. The evilest of things will never come in the form that you fear the most, but in a form that you would be welcoming to. I mean, look at Kiefer Sutherland in The Lost Boys. He was cool looking cat, long black jacket, hair all spiked up. No, I can't do it, but still. And then, of course, you know, when he bared the fangs and all that, it went a little different, but that's what it looks like. A Raggedy Ann doll. Completely harmless. Oh, but it's anything but harmless. Anything other than harmless. Good evening, everyone. I'm Chris Sloan. You get to see the face made for podcasting and radio. So here it is. Host of the Mountain Mysteries, content creator, along with Aaliyah and Arrow Wilson. It's very much a family affair. Speaking of family, I want everybody, and we are going to take a moment of silence right now, if you will, please, to honor and reflect the memory of April Pennington. Her birthday is May 14th, which is, according to my calendar, if my computer is set right, that would be tomorrow. Things that I remember about April: sweet, loving, kind, caring, a genuinely beautiful person with a beautiful soul. And May 19th will mark 30 years. I got all kinds of text messages after the celebration of life. Thanking me. No. Thank you. I want to take a moment and thank Sharon and thank Tim and Jason and everybody who was all for me doing this story. You see, that was my honor. The reason it's my honor is because when somebody comes to us, you know, you got to look. I'm not affiliated with Wondery or with I don't know the companies that do these podcasts out there. I don't know. I don't, it's not about that. So when they come to me with these things, as opposed to sending it to Wondery or sending it to Brand X, whoever, that's a hell of an honor. And I try my best to get it right. I try my best to do justice. I try my best to do something that the families are proud of and the people that we are discussing would have been proud of. And, well, for that matter, are proud of too, because I don't think that this life is it. I don't think that this is the only thing that there is to this life. When we close our eyes for the last time, that's it. No, the Bible's pretty clear about that. To be present or to be absent in the body is to be present with God. And I don't think that there's any cooler thing in this universe. I think that would be awesome. So that's my belief. Anyways, so right now I'd like to take a moment of silence in honor of April. We love you, sis. Okay. So, and I wish you a very happy heavenly birthday. You know, you'd think that at the age some of us are, we'd maybe be a little more used to losing the people that we love along the way as we go on, as life progresses, but somehow it never gets easier. My son-in-law, who was just over here a little while ago with my beautiful daughter, we're talking about that. And we were talking about bracing yourself. You know, I knew mom and dad were going. Mom went January 21st, 2019. Dad, February 24th, 2019. But after mom went, you know, I thought that I'd kind of brace myself for it. She'd been in the hospital for not hardly a month, close to it. And then I got that call, 10 o'clock in the morning on a Monday, that January 21st. Is this Mr. Sloan? I said, every time you say Mr. Sloan, I turn around, look behind my shoulder to see my father. I said, call me Chris. No, Chris. And it was a nurse, really sweet, really nice, really kind. I knew what she was going to say just by the tone of her voice. I cannot imagine giving a death notification. We lost her. They'd lost her 2 or 3 times before, but they brought her back, so I was kind of waiting on that other shoe to drop. We lost her, but we got her back. No, they lost her. When I called my daughter and told her, she was still in high school, getting ready to graduate. She was on her way to get lunch with some friends, and she got real quiet. Wasn't long after that she was there, of course. This is something that you can never get used to, and here's the kicker with these birthdays. You live it all over again every year. Closure. Closure, yeah. That's about the biggest line of bullcrap I've ever heard. There is no closure. The best you can do is hope to find some kind of peace and go on, because that's what they would want you to do. Going on doesn't mean you forget. No, it does not. It means you go on and you live your life and you honor them. I can't tell you how many times in my life people have said, "Oh, if you just get the right moment, your voice will." I do acknowledge. I think that what I do is a gift from God, but what I do with it is a gift back to Him. That's why I do this. And for April, If you notice, if you ever look at the episode notes on the Mountain Mysteries, every single episode is for her. And they can be for all of those that we've lost. I'll never forget that day at Wolf Lake when Sharon said, we could have justice till the cows come home. They could find the people responsible for killing my baby girl, put them on death row in Eddyville, and I still won't have closure. She's right. You get closure when you see them again. That's when we get closure. But there's certain things that we got to do in order to get there. If you want to learn more about that, talk to a holy person. Talk to a priest or a preacher or a rabbi or someone of your choice. But I think it's pretty clear. I don't know if any of you have ever saw the movie The Shack, but it had a line in there that the guy that portrayed Christ, that played the role of Christ, tells this other guy, he says, look, I'm not looking for slaves. I'm looking for friends. I believe that. I ask you to say a prayer for April's family, because I can only imagine, as difficult as it has been for me to lose my parents, I can only imagine how tough it is for her mom and her family. Because I lost my parents, that's kind of the natural order of things. Many of you out there have lost your parents. I respect that. I understand that. But I have also seen, not experienced, but seen what it's like for a loved one to lose a child, a grandmother to lose her grandson, parents to lose their son or daughter. That's a whole nother level of hell that I don't want to fathom. So with that being said, my prayers are with all the families that have lost people, all the families that have kids that have not yet come home and they don't know what's going on. They don't know what's happened. They don't know what's happening. And maybe that's just as bad or worse. I don't know. But here we are. They would want us to go on. I almost went full blown. I've told you that story. I ain't going to get into depth with it again, but I almost went full blown alcoholic after mom and dad both died. I even told people at mom's memorial, I'll give him 30 days. Well, the old man took me to school one more time. It was 33. I still message them on Facebook. Still. Tell them I love them. Proud to be their son. Yeah, it is. A very good friend of mine wrote on here. I'm now watching the chat rooms, but a very good friend of mine wrote on here, crazy damn world. Yeah, it is. It is. God doesn't have this world. That's the God downstairs. But we are promised a better one. And you can bet money it's there. Not that money will get you in, but you can bet it's there. Remembering the good times, yeah. That helps. I could do a whole episode. Everybody asks, where do you get these one-liners? Well, that would be the old man. He had a knack with stuff like that. Vietnam veteran, and he used to say, son, there ain't a damn thing that you can do that I ain't done and probably done better. He was right. He was right. But I could do a whole episode just on my mom and dad alone. Maybe a series. I could turn it into a series. But I had great parents. And you know what, Rita? There's nothing wrong with messaging your son. Nothing. Nothing at all. I encourage it. Because I believe that they still know. They still hear. They still see. I am blessed, brother. So here's what's going on here Got a hold of our computer tech, the guy that built that big monster I showed you last week, the big computer. So he came over, and I got added on to a voiceover stable in Los Angeles, California. Imagine that. Anyways, they said, we love the way you read, we love what you do, but we're hearing a slot fan in the background. And I'm like, imagine that. Damn computer sitting right here beside of me. Here it was. So I got a hold of him, and he's a great guy. His name's Tim. And he came over and moved the machine out of here and put it somewhere where it's very secure, very silent. I don't even hear it in here now because it's not in here. But at any rate, anytime you move something like that, something's going to mess up. It's like there's a gremlin in there just waiting for you to poke it. Oh boy, did we poke the bear. So we reinstalled everything, put it back together, or actually he did. And then I'm like, okay, why isn't the microphone working? Look, when it comes to this kind of thing, I can sit down behind the mic and I can talk to you guys. I consider you guys family. Most of the time when I'm looking right there at you, what I see, of course, is a 4K camera. But what I see in my mind's eye is my mom, my dad, or so many of you that I had the opportunity and the privilege to meet. Some of you I've known for a long time: Tony, Steve, Sharon. I love you, Sharon. Amanda, and so many other people that really don't participate much in the chat, and that's okay. You don't have to. But that's who I see when I look at this camera. I see a picture. I see Steve sitting here in front of me, or Sharon, or Stacy, or Tony, or Lloyd, or Allie, or Arrow, or any number of people. You get the idea. That's who I'm talking to. I'm talking to each one of you guys. That's why the radio voice goes away. I save that crap for the audio books and radio commercials. Justin, don't want to forget Justin. But anyways, when it comes to audio routing, I can do that with cables. But when it comes to the software and Microsoft, thank you, Bill Gates. So I had to get him on the phone. And of course, he had it lined out in, 30 seconds. So I'm grateful to him too. These episodes, each one that I do, I can't say that none of them are lighthearted. And I had a buddy said, I love listening to you. He said, you don't use much humor. And I asked him, I said, what the hell's funny about somebody getting killed? What the hell's funny about? I said, I may drop a little bit of humor here and there in one of my little one-liners or my zaps or whatever, but and don't get me wrong, it's not that it's depressing. What I want to do is deliver the facts and deliver maybe a way to let people vent and deal with it. That's why I've always said the Mountain Mysteries is about the people. And we don't contact families. And I will not contact a family. And I'll tell you why, because people need time to digest and grief. I mean, we're talking about a traumatic experience. Ask Sharon, ask Mildred, ask any number of people that have gone through this. When you lose somebody you love, there's a period there that you're kind of looking around. It's almost like you're searching for where you dropped your wallet, or because you don't know what's going on. What do I do now? What do I do next? It's the wrong person. They've made a mistake. It's not so and so. It's this didn't happen. Yes, it did. And there ain't a damn thing I can say to make it any better for you. I wish there was. The only thing I can do is be there as a friend. And if you think that it wasn't an accident, and we do a full-blown episode and come to find out that it was an accident, you know what I'm going to say? Still want to say I'm sorry. A lot of us, especially when we're young, we don't get the finality of death. I think we're going to live forever. I know I used to think that. I was from this planet far away called Krypton. Yeah. I'm from Earth. I'm from Paintsville, to be specific. But, yeah. The S on my chest stands for Sloan. Or some would say it. But that's that little bit of humor there I'm talking about. I have noticed something though. And I've learned this from Stacy and Sharon, that when you start talking about memories, that when they're doing an investigation of, at least the one I've been on with them, when we start talking about memories, that thing really ramps up, because that's telling me we're remembering the good stuff. Like Tony on here said, remember the good times. That's telling me that we are remembering the good stuff, and they like that. Can you imagine trying to feed on negative energy? I don't think I'd want to either. It's like drinking sour milk. But if you feed on positive energy, you just pop the cap on that. It's fresh. That stuff's good to go. That makes a big difference, doesn't it? Now, I told you last Tuesday about being up at the celebration. Of course, I kind of get emotional, and I can't help it, damn it. I loved April, thought the world of Tim. Didn't know DeWayne, but I came to love him anyways because I got to know him through the podcast. But these lights on this shelter, and it was shelter 4, they start flickering. The wind picks up, and it's just crazy. And I'm looking around, and I look over, and I see Steve, and I see Tony, and I see Sharon, and I see all these people. Sharon had to come up and give me support. My daughter was on one side, Sharon's on the other. But I just looked, and I was like, she's here. She is here. And she was. Every time I said her name, them lights, and you can ask Sharon, those lights just went. I mentioned Tim's name, same thing, DeWayne. Then when I got done and everybody started to grab them a bite of lunch, it just went, and they were off. I felt like she was acknowledging us because we were acknowledging her. And I've got no lie to tell you, and I'll make it public. The reason I started this whole thing was because of April. And I did not want her or Tim or anybody else that we ever spoke about forgotten. Somebody asked me, what is today? Thursday? They asked me Wednesday. I think it was yesterday. Why did you do a case on Muriel Baldridge? That happened over 73, 74 years ago. My direct response was this. And what, is she not worth being remembered? Because this was in 1949 when this 17-year-old beautiful little girl lost her life to some thug punk bitch, pardon my language. But is she not worth remembering? Of course she's worth remembering. They all are. Sharon is asking me to relay a story to you about this. I'm sorry, Sharon, I can't remember what it's called. Anyways, you guys have probably seen it. It's been on Ghost Adventures with Zach Bagans. It's been on several paranormal TV shows. Anyways, what it is it's a device that you hold in your hand, right? And like if it saw me sitting there, it would map out like a stick figure. 2 arms, 2 legs, head. That's pretty much the end of it. Well, it maps out that one thing unless there's something else there. Ghost tube. Thank you, Sharon. It's called a ghost tube. Anyways, I'm sitting up there, and Stacy and her husband are there, and I'm sitting beside a Stace, and Sharon's like, Chris, you need to come over and look at this. Because, the thing's pointed at me, and she said, she's right behind you right now. Now, for most people, they'd probably be like, just the thought of an entity or a ghost or a spirit being behind them freaks them out. For me, it's like, if it's April, if it's Tim, if it's DeWayne, I'm good. If it's God, I'm good. If it's Christ, I'm good. So I go over there and look. And of course, I'm out of its path now, so I don't see anything, but Stacy had taken a picture of it. And I was like, cool. Then Sharon walks out there, and you see an additional figure. Here's Sharon, and you see an additional figure, and its hands come around and hold her hands. I flippin' lost it. I had to walk away again. 49 years old, ride, in my opinion, kind of a badass Harley. I like it. Okay. But this was holding her hands. It's like Sharon said, it was holding her hands. And I'm sitting here thinking, I'm a man. Yeah, I'm a man. And I lose it. But in my opinion, being a man doesn't mean you don't cry. You don't get emotional. Doesn't mean you don't care. As a matter of fact, it means just the opposite. You do care. And you show the people that you love that you care. Tell them every day, because we ain't got a promise of tomorrow. God never said, hey, listen, you're going to live 26 years. You're going to live 76 years. The only thing he promised us is that he would be there with us through every step of the way. And guess what? My experience has been, we had great Scott up there, Trev and Russ, great guys, great musicians, burning it up, man, playing acoustic music from the 80s live. I mean, everybody's having a real good time, right? So Stacy holds up this ghost box, or ghost tube, I'm sorry, ghost tube. And she said, oh, my Lord. There were figures dancing. Nobody was around. Everybody else was in another part of this thing. Nobody was there. If Stacy's watching, I'm hoping I'll be able to get that video, and I will play it for you. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen. There was nothing there for it that we could see with our physical eyes to have that kind of pattern represented. And nonetheless, one or two of them were on a table. I thought to myself, damn it, that's April if I'm if I'm drawing a breath. They were dancing, they were having a good time, they were there in celebration. Maybe they were happy because people remember them. Well, let me tell you something, honey. We'll never forget. Tim, DeWayne. Never. You don't forget the people you love, but they would want you to live your life. They would not want you being depressed. They would not want you feeling sad, even though it's inevitable. I can speak from my own personal experiences. I know that my parents are far better off now than they ever were. But what makes me sad is my own personal grief. I was very greedy. I wanted them for another day. It didn't matter how sick they were. So anyways, we get up to this point where we're going to do a balloon release. Jason shows up, and I'm so grateful he did. I thought that was awesome. So it's me and Jay and Sharon and Tim and everybody there, pretty much. We go over to the place where April was found. And we're going to release, I think it was like 60 balloons. You know, we had 16 for April, 24 for Tim, and then 20 for DeWayne. So anyways, we're all walking over there, and I'm holding some. Sharon's got a hold of some. Jason's got a hold of some. And all of a sudden, this wind kicks up. And what we did was release, in no part thanks to Tony Fairchild, who suggested 424, which in military time is 1624. And then, of course, we added the 20 seconds for DeWayne. I said, okay. And I'm sitting there looking at my phone, and I'm like, 3, 2, 1, release. And I'll never forget, Jason looks over at me, and he's like, yeah. Because he saw the wind was kicking up, and he was like, okay, these suckers are going to go right towards that tree. And I'm thinking, that'll be all right. Well, it shows what I know from down here, way down there. So we release them, and sure enough, we've got like 60 of these balloons. And they go up into the tree, and the tree catches them. And I'm sitting there, oh my God, they're going to pop, they're going to burst. Nothing. Not a one of them was hurt. Not a one. Guy uses this big pole, and I think it was Tim or one of the Paintsville Lake guys, God bless him, got up there on top of this pickup truck and uses this thing, and it looked like it had a fishing hook on it that'd skewer a shark. But they're pulling it down, they're getting it down, and I'm just sitting there waiting. This is going to bust. It's going to bust. It did not bust. So then we took them out in the parking lot, and I think it was Jason and Sharon that released them. And those pink balloons were pushing those blue ones up just as fast as they would go. And there was one blue balloon that got away. It drove, and the other ones followed it. In my 49 years on this earth, I've never seen anything like it. It was a day of firsts for me. It was crazy, but it was beautiful. It was crazy beautiful. I guess that's how I'd put it. Met a lot of people up there that I hadn't seen in a long time. Made some new friends, I hope. Tomorrow is her birthday. Been informed that we are having a few streaming issues, so just bear with me for a minute. Or bear with us if you can. There we go. Okay, hopefully it'll pick back up here in just a second. I did not get to restart the internet before we did this, which apparently is recommended. So either way it goes, hopefully this thing will be back on and you'll be able to see the full video on Facebook here coming up pretty soon. As long as it continued to go like that too. At least I hope so. So anyways, back to what we were initially discussing, which was the Lorraine Warren interviews. Dropping tonight at midnight 01 is part 1. Next Friday, part 2, Patreon people get it Tuesday, of course. Then the Friday after that, we're doing one on Octavia Hatcher, Buried Alive. And I think that that's going to be a pretty good one. And I do apologize. I can honestly tell you that is not the application. That is the internet. Like I said, I didn't get a chance to restart it before we started this. And that happens sometimes. It's not a perfect world, but I tell you what, I think all in all, it's a pretty good one. So part 2, you're going to hear her talk about Annabelle. You're going to hear her talk about the Occult Museum and the dangers that are located within. And believe me, they are thick and wide. There's a reason they tell you, I think they've actually got it closed right now, the Occult Museum, the Occult Museum. But when you go into it, they said, absolutely, positively, don't touch nothing. Just don't touch it. Don't challenge it. You're going to hear her talk about a guy who was riding a motorcycle and challenged Annabelle. Said, well, if you're so bad, scratch me. Annabelle did a little bit more than that. You're going to learn about that. You're going to learn about the priest that picked her up and threw her in a rocking chair. Said, and what was it he told Ed Warren? He said, look, there's nothing. He said, no devil is more powerful than God. He said, the devil is not as powerful as God. And Ed looked at him and it was along the lines of, no, that's true, but no man is stronger than the devil. And boy, did he find that out just an hour later. That's all on part 2 coming up. So you're going to hear about those things and a whole lot more. Download this thing, save it. And if you don't care, share the Mountain Mysteries podcast. Talk about it. There's a little place on Apple or Spotify where you can click. It's like the 3 little dots that are, side by side. You can click that and you can hit share and send it to your friends and your family. Send it to people that you know that might be interested in this kind of thing. Are we all about hauntings? No, absolutely not. We also talk about mysterious deaths, as you may know. We also talk about the vanished. We talked about not really done anything on a creature yet except for Mothman. I don't know if that qualifies. I mean, is he a creature? Is he an interdimensional thing? Beats me, but that was got a lot of good response out of that one too. And everybody's asking me about Bigfoot. Probably not, because here's the thing. Why did I do one on Mothman if not Bigfoot? 47 people died on the Silver Bridge collapse. The Mountain Mysteries is about the people. Now, if I know of somebody or somebody comes forward and said, look, I had an encounter with this thing and I don't know what it is, I think it might have been a Sasquatch or a Bigfoot. It scared the whatever out of me, and it's affected me in this way. Then it's about a person, then yeah, we'd probably look at doing it. The topic of conversation when it concerns, what do they call them, cryptids? The fact that it may or may not be a cryptid is one thing or another to me. Whatever. It's the people, the experience they had. That's what we're after. That's what makes us a little bit different from everybody else. So with that being said, I'm looking over to my phone to make sure that this thing's not freeze up again. I can promise you before we do the next one, I'll restart the internet. I apologize for that. But it's called In the Shadows, Lorraine Warren, part 1, Friday, tonight. Part 2, next Friday. If you're Patreon, you get them Tuesday. And in some cases, don't forget, well, in all cases with Patreon, if you get Patreon, Then you also automatically get a free downloadable subscription to the Mountain Mysteries Blurs, which are audio short stories. And they're really cool. We'll have another one airing this Sunday. But yeah, as you can see, we got a lot going on. And I really, really love the fact that we've got a lot going on, because that means that things are actually happening. Things are getting bigger. They're growing. But tomorrow, if you can say a silent prayer for the family or a prayer out loud for the family, that's even better. It's April's birthday tomorrow, May 14th. And then May 19th, absolutely. Because that May 19th, by the way, is next Wednesday. That marks 30 years that she's left us. And Tim. June 8th will mark 1 year for DeWayne. Let's never forget these people. That's the whole purpose of this thing. Let's never, ever forget them, okay? So again, there it is on the screen, flagging over. Yep, May 14th, part 2, May 21st. And I do hope that you guys will check it out. Give us 5 stars rating. If you want to support the Mountain Mysteries, you can do it with a one-time donation through PayPal. That link is in the show notes. Or if you want to do a $3 tier a month and get a few extras, 5, 10, whatever, then you can go on to Patreon, get that there. It helps keep the lights going. And there were people at the Celebration of Life that donated, not just in ticket sales for the raffle, but they donated. I cannot thank you all enough for that. It's humbling. But you keep the servers going, you keep the lights on, as far as this thing goes. And it's like I've said, it's not necessary, but it is appreciated. It really does help. But only do it if your heart tells you to do it, if you think this is worth doing. That's the advice I'd give anybody. I hope you guys will check out the Lorraine Warren thing. We are about to wrap up production on part 2, which will be available Tuesday for Patreon. And like I said, Friday for everybody else. I can tell you part 2 is a little more creepy than part 1. You make the hair stand up on the back of your neck. And Lorraine, my daughter actually asked me this evening, she said, what kind of person was she? Man, she was awesome. She was beautiful. Her soul, her kindness, her attitude towards people she didn't know. She showed respect to everyone. I get why Ed loved her so much. I get it completely. And apparently Ed was pretty much the same way. So I get why Lorraine loved him so much. They were peas in a pod. He was the only layman recognized by the Catholic Church as a demonologist that I know of, at least then, as far as I know to this day. As far as I know, that may not. And Lorraine was a sensitive, clairvoyant. And I believe it because the things that they did, they were everyday people that did extraordinary things. Think about that word, extraordinary. Extraordinary. Above ordinary. How do you get to be above ordinary? You keep going. And going and going and going. I know several extraordinary people that are in that chat room right now. So keep going. Don't give up. Keep your prayers going. And until next Thursday, I'm Chris Sloan. I love you, and I thank you. May God bless each and every one of you and keep your family safe. And as always, stay mysterious.
From one coast to the other, mysteries are everywhere, and we will continue to pursue the answers to those questions and more. Please share, like, and rate the Mountain Mysteries podcast and tell your friends to tune in on Facebook or YouTube. The Mountain Mysteries gatherings are each Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you'd like to support the Mountain Mysteries search and help these families, join us on Patreon, or you can make a one-time donation as well. The Mountain Mysteries and the Mountain Mysteries gatherings are property of the Pantry Studios and Chris Sloan, who writes and produces the content. If you would like to reach out to the Mountain Mysteries, please email us at pantrystudio@yahoo.com. Until next time, my friends, stay mysterious.
A Pantry Studio production.